At it again, and the establishment likes to call us Trump supporters MAGA extremists, lunatics. We're crazy for sticking with Uncle Trump. We need to betray him. We need to leave Trump. Well, seems once again we've been proven right. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in. You guys remember when Hillary said this?
Well, you saw the number of Republicans who voted along with Democrats to keep the government open. So there's clearly a common sense, sane part of the Republican caucus in the House.
They are Democrats, and they will be voted out very soon. Every single one of them.
But I think they are intimidated. They oftentimes say and do things which they know better than to say or do. And it will require us defeating those most extreme measures and the people who promote them in order to try to get to some common ground where people can, again, work together. That's the way it used to be. I mean, we had very strong partisans in both parties in the past, and we had very bitter battles over all kinds of things, gun control and climate change and the economy and taxes. But there wasn't this little tail of extremism wagging the dog of the Republican Party as it is today. Mm-hmm. And sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching...
There's that famous line again, MAGA extremists. You got to keep repeating the word so it sticks in people's brains. The MAGA extremists. Yeah, okay. MAGA extremists. So what's BLM? The same folks that go out and burn buildings and loot and riot and all types of stuff like that. So what are they considered? If MAGA is considered extremists, what are they? Are they actual terrorists or something? Because they have to be like a step above us, because last time I checked, whenever they don't get their way, they loot, they burn, all types of that crazy stuff going on. Okay, so what are they? I'm just asking.
Orders from Donald Trump, who extremists take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him?
Never.
Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen.
And how do you do that?
Formal deprogramming, because we won't say, nah, we don't like Trump anymore. We need to be deprogrammed because of that. Really? And I showed you guys that clip for a reason, because obviously we've checked that out before, but it seems that things are going our way once again. Check it out.
A huge legal blow for former President Trump, with a third co-defendant pleading guilty in the Georgia election interference case. And this time, it is the person who is at the heart of the fake electors plot. Pro-Trump lawyer Kenneth Chesebro pleading guilty to one felony count of conspiracy to commit filing false documents. Now, prosecutors are recommending that he serve 5 years of probation, and he's also agreed to testify in future court proceedings. I want to bring in now Kenneth Chesebro's attorney, Scott Grubman. Scott, thank you for being here. Look, today, your client has now implicated Trump in this criminal conspiracy. If he is called upon to testify...
Notice what she said there. She said, your client has implicated Trump in this conspiracy. Listen to what his attorney says.
In this Georgia case, is he willing to implicate Trump on a witness stand, which seems to be required in this plea deal that he just struck?
So, Abby, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Second of all, I am going to respectfully disagree with you on one thing. I don't think he implicated anyone but himself. And I just want to point out two important facts that I think will get exactly to your question. Not only did he avoid jail time, but this is the most important. He did not plead guilty to the Rico charge.
Do I need to play that again? He said, no, I respectfully disagree. He didn't implicate anyone but himself. Woo! When the house of cards comes crumbling down, My goodness. Sweet music, ain't it? Sweet music. Sounds good to the ears. Sounds good.
But this is the most important. He did not plead guilty to the Rico charge. Mr. Chesborough pled guilty, and I printed it out to make sure I had the exact words: conspiracy to commit filing of false documents. The Rico charge was dismissed. And listen, Mr. Chesborough accepted responsibility for count 15 of the indictment, and he agreed that if he were called by the state, he would come testify truthfully.
Listen to what he says after this, but also I do apologize because the audio is not in sync. His lips aren't moving with the audio. Yes, I'm seeing it myself, so I do apologize about that. I know that can be a little annoying sometimes, but you guys can still hear it, all right? That's what really matters. And you're going to want to hear what he has to say. I'm about to rewind it back just a little bit. Oh, crap. I actually fast-forwarded it.
And listen, Mr. Chesborough accepted responsibility for count 15 of the indictment, and he agreed that if he were called by the state, he would come testify truthfully. And he is a man of his word, and he will do that. Whether his testimony is going to be helpful to the state, that's going to be for the state to decide. I personally do not see his testimony being helpful for the state. Bingo. But if the state wants to call him, he absolutely can come and tell the truth.
I don't see his testimony as being helpful. He will testify, but I don't see it as being helpful. Because, you know, it's funny because when this whole situation broke, right? When Sidney Powell, when it was announced that she had pleaded guilty, and then Kenneth had pleaded guilty, all of the news, oh my goodness, they pleaded guilty. They pleaded guilty. Look, see? Trump's guilty too. Look, they pleaded guilty. They pleaded guilty. And then you have this. You have this lawyer come out and say, no, he didn't implicate anyone but himself. Nobody. It was just him. And on top of that, it gets better. I mean, my goodness. Like, it gets sweeter than, no, he didn't implicate anyone but himself. Oh, man. You know, just sweet sounds.
The state wants to call him, he absolutely can come and tell the truth. And if they think that's helpful for them, and they think they could convince a jury that his testimony is helpful for them, then so be it.
So who in Mr. Chesborough's view was the architect of this fake electors plot?
Listen.
Mr. Chesborough doesn't think there was a fake electors plot. And Abby, please, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but the fake electors plot was part of the Rico conspiracy. And Fani Willis dismissed the Rico charge. And the charge that he pled to has nothing to do with being the architect of the fake elector plot. And I will say, and I will ask anyone listening to ask themselves this question. If Mr. Chesborough was the architect of the fake elector plot, then would the district attorney of Fulton County offer him 5 years probation and first offender? I don't think she would. And that really just proves that while he did accept responsibility for count 15, that he was never the architect of the fake elector plot. And I think if you asked him who was, I think he would say there wasn't a fake elector plot. And there certainly wasn't an architect, and it certainly wasn't him.
Incredible stuff, right? No fake plot. I don't think his testimony would be beneficial. You know, I just wanted to bring you guys a little bit of good news today. All right, a little bit of good news. Obviously, like I said, the mainstream media, ran with those stories and made it seem and feel as if, right, Trump was going down with the ship. He's going down. We got Trump. We got him. You know, Sidney Powell pleaded guilty. Kenneth pleaded guilty. We got him. They're going to testify against him, and it's all over with. The MAGA extremists are done. Nope. You thought. You thought. You know, it's like, we're playing chess while they're playing checkers, or Muhammad Ali doing the rope-a-dope. You know, we just dancing around. We just, we chilling. We good. Y'all throwing everything you got. We just bobbing and weaving. Okay, we're just gonna tire you out. You tired yet? Me either. Okay, we just keep on doing this little bob and weave game, and I do think that ultimately there is, a strategy involved with this and from Trump's perspective, right? And even if you want to look at, and I've thought about this myself, even if you want to look at it from a Supreme Court's perspective, I think there's strategy involved in this, right? Because a lot of people have come out and said, well, why hasn't the Supreme Court got involved and just stopped this, blah, 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 blah. Well, I think there's strategy involved in this, right? Now, I don't know this with 100% certainty. This is just, my personal opinion. I am no lawyer or no, professional when it comes to law. Okay, I haven't studied this like the back of my hand or anything. If we have any lawyers watching, let us all know in the comment section. But I think the Supreme Court is waiting. They're just sitting back and waiting to see what happens, right? And then once something does happen, if it happens, which I honestly and truthfully, if I had to put a number on it, I would say there's about a 10% chance of something happening, right? You always have to put some type of chance that something happens. And when I say something, I mean like Trump being convicted of, one of the 1,000 different charges that, they've levied against him at this point. It's like out of 1,000, something. They'll get something, right? At least they have to get something. I mean, it would be absolutely terrible if they got nothing. So I'm predicting there's a 10% chance that they at least get something to stick. And once that does happen, then I believe the Supreme Court will step in afterwards and do their thing, and then it'll all be shut down. But in the meantime, between time, they don't want to get ahead of the legal system and then, have the Democrats, oh, look at the Supreme Court, they're interfering in the, you know what I mean? So they're just sitting back, But I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. I just thought this was a good tidbit of news here that I wanted to bring to you guys. Y'all let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Peace and love. I'm out.